we are going to move on to our main topic.
Okay.
Is war good?
Yeah.
And that makes your brain hurt when you really think about it. Sometimes
there's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it.
As we found out so far.
So we're working through some of these questions. Joel has been taking turns, taking different positions that I don't know about ahead of time. This one I do know about because we ran out of positions to take, and so we're gonna wrap this up with the final position on the view of war. And
Sure.
maybe you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I got a different position, doesn't match any of these. That's okay. This is going to kind of thinking through what the Bible really says, and just kind of looking at that big picture wise. So, all right, Joel, let's get started.
So here's my final introduction on it, but I'm going to add a little more than I did before. So there are four major views on the morality of war, and pacifism, war is never good. But just war, which is what I'm going to be defending, just war I'm saying now this is my position. Okay.
This is officially your position.
This is, before I was taking false positions.
You're not faking the position.
Right. And so
irrationally.
Unlike pacifism with just war, war does have the ability to be justified. Okay. It's not always justified, of course. Sometimes we are actually morally obligated to go to war.
Okay.
So it's not just that, that's kind of a good thing. It's like, no, you ought to do it, or you're actually wrong, Okay, at times.
Okay.
Then realism, that's where, hey, war justifies itself. This is the way the world works. It always has, always will, and so
it works better the more war there is.
Yeah, it's but that pursuit of power and things, that's actually how you provide, the peace and prosperity for your citizens, and expand your borders. That's just more peace and prosperity for more citizens, even. So, they kind of like have
except for the neighboring countries.
Yeah, right. Well, Brazil. So yeah, it's why is Brazil so big? Okay, moving on. So then there's holy war. I forgot to say what it's why just war is unlike realism. Sorry.
Okay.
So just war, though, it's saying that war must be. There's no alternative. War must be justified by a moral framework of justice and peace. Both things. So like realism.
And that moral framework should come from the Word of God.
Yes.
Not just randomly made up by an individual.
And really that's a whole other conversation that we've actually already had, like Is God Good series and stuff, where God is the standard of morality, that kind of thing. So when I'm using terms like moral here, like I mean that biblical worldview standard.
Sure.
Okay. So it must be justified by a moral framework. And of course, I think there's other people that can have a just war view, and they would reject my position as God is the objective, universal, consistent standard of good.
Sure.
So then I think they're going to still have some problems with it because of that. So that's kind of an important distinction too, I guess. But yeah, so realism just says, hey, war justifies itself, so who cares? It doesn't need any external moral framework or anything. Whereas just war says, no, absolutely it does.
Okay.
Then you have like holy war. The war is good when waged to spread the faith movement. We'll say Christianity in our case. Yep. But unlike holy war, then just war, the causes for war must be tied to the common good, not only to church leadership. So we're actually looking out for all citizens, even of all faiths. We're looking out for literally everyone. What is the best for peace, justice, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Prosperity really isn't even necessarily on the menu. That's kind of a second-hand thing.
Sure.
Because we really want justice and peace. If we can get prosperity as well, obviously we'll take it. But that's not number one.
I kind of like freedom too.
Yeah, well, if true peace requires freedom.
Yeah.
True peace. There's a false peace that's out there. The one that the final Antichrist will offer. That's probably another episode there. But anyways, so then what is just war? So here's a quote I have from this book. I've gotten a lot out of it. I recommend it. It's called Ethics of War, a short companion by Paul D. Miller. And just talking like maybe I should just shoot an email out there and see if I can get this person to come on our podcast, because it's a really good book.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, this is his quote here. Just war is an instrument to be used by legitimately constituted government, which it has responsibility for all citizens of all faiths to uphold justice and peace in the face of violent assault.
Okay.
So really couldn't say it better myself. Had to quote him. So I think it's just very concise, involves a lot there. In fact, let me read it one more time because it's a lot of words. So if you're just listening, it might be hard to digest. Just war is an instrument to be used by legitimately constituted government, which has responsibility for all citizens of all faiths to uphold justice and peace in the face of violent assault. Okay. All right. With that said, okay. There is five there is 5 key criteria. There we go. I can speak. When we have a question here, when is going to war just? So before I give my 5,
that's the big question then, right?
Yes. So there's 5 key criteria. This is standard. This is not just something I'm making up. So I'm just representing this position here. So off the top of your head, Nate, what would you say if you had to come up with some criteria? When is going to war just? What might you say?
When England's taxing you too much and you can't take it no more, and you have to fight for your rights.
So you're mentioning a cause.
Yeah,
the cause is important.
The cause is important.
What would you? What would be a distinction, a good distinction between good and bad cause then?
Much of it changes with time, right? Like when we fought our Revolutionary War, the taxes were what, like 2% or whatever it was. It's insignificant.
Yeah.
And only on a few items.
It was super low.
And the big complaint was we're getting taxed, but we're not getting representation in the government.
Right.
That was our big complaint, right?
Yes.
One of them. I mean, there's others, but that was one of the big complaints. I mean, but now we're taxed at what, 30, 40%, when you count everything.
Yep.
50%, if you're rich, you get really taxed.
Sure.
But we're not going to war and fighting for independence, right? So some of that changes over time.
Well, what are some universal principles though that we could have? Maybe we'll step away from a specific war right now.
Sure.
I'm not afraid of going there, but just for right now, just kind of back up. And what are some universal principles that can be consistent, maybe a little bit more objective?
Obviously, if you were attacked by a foreign power, you would defend yourself, right?
Okay.
I mean, that would be one. Any nation that's attacked, whether they're being attacked for a good reason or not, has the right to defend themselves, I think, morally, right? Like we have the right of self-defense.
I'm with you on that.
You have
aggressors coming in. Yeah, we are going to get rid of them.
And then on that behalf, I think it would be morally acceptable to also defend others being attacked.
Defending the innocent.
Yep, especially those who are weaker and unable to defend themselves. In the case of especially like a mass genocide or something crazy. You think. World War II, of course, there was that going on, plus someone trying to conquer the world who was also spreading evil ideology.
That was pretty bad.
And yet even then, America was trying to stay out of it. Like, nah, you guys fight. This is over in Europe. You guys fight until we got attacked with Japan and we stayed out of the war. Now, what did we eventually got in? Probably eventually, but
eventually,
But at the same time, you also don't go looking for fights, especially other people's fights, right?
Yep.
But at some point, you're like, okay, there's some bad things going on here. We need to step in.
Yep.
We have a moral obligation. So I think that would be one.
We have
there's a lot of things that would play into that, especially when you're fighting for someone else, because which country is right, and all those things. But
that's a super hard one. Yes.
But defending of the innocent would be, and that's not just for war. That's just life in general, right? If you're walking down the street and some innocent person is being assaulted by an evil person, you would step in. You have a moral obligation to step in and defend them.
All right. So we have
on country scale, there's more complicated. But
all right, we won't spend too long on one of these. So that's one of the 5 criteria.
Okay.
Just cause. And so then what about intentions?
Intentions matter.
So it's distinct from cause.
Okay.
So there's a cause to go to war. But what are your intentions when you go to war?
Should be to win.
Okay.
But what's winning?
Yeah,
That target moves a lot of times.
We had for a while. We had a Heart and Mind campaign. Remember that with from America over in Middle East. There's a Heart and Mind campaign. So instead of actually like conquering the physical enemy with warfare, it was more of we go there, try to set up reforms and whatnots, and so that it was hard to say when did you finish?
When did you win? Did you win?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So like aiming at just to combine the words, we keep saying just and peace, right? And it's justice and peace, and so aiming at a just peace, to have that together. Revenge would not be good. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
In theory, although defending yourself is.
I think there is a distinction there.
There's a distinction.
Yeah. I think because
going just for the sake of vengeance is not the same as defending.
Because revenge is like you offended me, you hurt me, or something like that.
Let me hurt you back.
And I'm just out of spite, I'm just going to hurt you back. In other words, that is the goal in and of itself.
Just hurting.
Just I want to hurt you.
Not solving the problem.
Right. And so that's why revenge wouldn't be a part of this. That's not a good intention. Mm-hmm. But just peace is, and I think like conquest, like that's a tricky one because it's like the idea of you don't want to just have the intention of I'm going to take all of your land, all of your things. That's kind of more the realism view, right? So I'm just gonna keep bulldozing over everybody. I think you have to understand your limits. Like, what do I intend to do? We'll just leave it there. And those things need to align with Scripture. We are even though we have enemies, we still need to love them, and that involves even when you kill them on the battlefield. I think that you still love your enemies to a degree. You're doing what is right, but here's a strange idea for a lot of people, but it's actually mentioned in that book too, with the ethics of war there. Just to even have a time for soldiers to grieve the enemy's loss,
sure,
because they are human beings, and a lot of times they're also guys just following orders, and it's not necessarily that you hate each other. Mm-hmm. It's that there is cause and tension. There's all these things going on.
The individuals fighting the battle are still human beings.
There's a lot of soldiers that have a lot of, guilt and things they carry. You can talk to veterans. The veterans have a high suicide rate even because of the guilt they'll carry for these things. And, sometimes that proper grieving can help with that. And there's resources out there. Definitely reach out to some pastoral help and
resources.
Other help too. Yeah, that's kind of another branch of this that would kind of like a consequence of war that could be dealt with. So I'm not really wanting to deal with that now, but I thought it'd be worthy to mention there. So it's important. So what about this proportionality?
What do you mean by that?
So the idea is that the overall good gained by the war, it must outweigh the evil done.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Sure.
Okay.
Because war brings death and destruction. And so, is that what you're meaning?
Yes.
War brings death and destruction. So whatever our gain is by the outcome needs to outweigh, be greater than what we had to go through. The means don't necessarily justify the ends type of answer.
A tie is not good enough. Equal good to the evil. That's
sure.
And that kind of goes a little bit back to intention. Both countries just limp away
with damage. I mean, something beneficial needs to come out of it.
Correct.
For one of the countries at least, right?
And it could just be stopping, a Hitler type person.
Sure.
Like that, the evil that had to get done, it was the good that came out of it, I think, far outweighed the evils of war.
Yeah.
And of course, I know with a subject like this, I'm sure no matter what you say, there's going to be disagreement and people are going to get upset with a lot of things. Here,
absolutely.
But I think this is proper.
But I think just thinking through it and like actually
really
saying,
helps.
okay, what does the Bible say about this? And just think through it is good, regardless of your position. There's good arguments for different positions. I mean, legitimate arguments like, love your enemies is is really in the Bible, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's
Do not
those that
murder is
wanna
really in the
kill you.
Bible. And then so having the distinction between murder and killing, it's important to think through.
Yeah.
Like,
And specifically in the Bible, it's talking about people that want to kill you.
yeah.
Yeah, they want to kill you, and you're supposed to love them and bless them. But I think war does play a part in all this. And I think both things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be a hard thing to get in your head at first, because first for me too, I was like, wait a minute, it's either one or the other.
It definitely can be.
But yeah, it just was work it through. How about this one? How soon do you pull the trigger to go to war? So the actual criteria marker is, it says last resort. So the idea is that
I would agree with that, right?
We tried the nonviolent options. We tried diplomacy. We tried, whatever there is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about? There's a nation coming to war against your nation. Now, don't think America right now. Just think like it could be any nation,
Just anyone.
Okay.
Sure.
A nation comes to war against your nation, and they are pretty much just as powerful, maybe more powerful than your nation.
If they're more powerful, you definitely send the plans.
Yeah, well,
the
it's
plans,
like-
right? Like,
Well, but so like, what about saying, hey, what if we can just be subservient to you and pay tribute to avoid war? How does that sit with you, Nate?
that doesn't sit very good with me.
But wouldn't that be?
I like freedom.
Yeah, I mean, there's still. It depends on the relationship there.
I mean,
because
if,
there could
if
be a
you
lot of
had,
freedom.
if you had no way of winning, that's an option.
Like when Rome took over, right? A
Sure.
lot of times it was diplomacy. It was like, hey, we will kill you if you resist. However, we're going to let you keep your religious practices, a lot of your civic practices. We'll even let you have some of your own rulers. We'll put ours in too.
Yeah, we'll appoint some governors, and
Yep.
you just send us your tribute, and don't rebel, and we'll be happy.
Yes. So what would you prefer, that over war?
If I had no chance of winning, that would be better than dying. I would. Well, maybe, I don't know.
But even if you win,
Probably not.
lots of deaths.
No. Yeah,
What do you
I
think
know.
about how they're broken, the widows, the orphans?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all the arguments against war. I mean, war
Yeah.
brings a lot of bad things.
Yes.
And so, I mean, you
So
want
truly-
you want to make sure that whatever cause I'm fighting for, I really believe in, right?
Yeah, like
And yeah,
so is it truly the last resort? Because I think that last resort's good, but you're also going to come into conflict with what are you not willing to give up?
yes,
Because at some point your nation is kind of no longer a nation. You've lost your identity.
yeah,
This has happened in other groups.
all the time.
You think like you hear about the Anglo-Saxons that came in, and the Anglos. That's why it became England. It's Anglo land.
Mm-hmm.
The original kind of English is basically the Welsh today. They got, which means like foreigner or something like that is what it means. So they like in their own land they were a foreigner because they essentially got totally wiped out.
I'm Welsh. Our last name is Welsh.
Is that right? Day. That's a Welsh name.
Supposedly, that's what I was told.
That's interesting. So that's now you know a little bit of your history.
Mhm.
Anyways, yeah, that's that's the idea. Like, so you obviously don't want to be erased off the borders of the world, right? Now they were just basically brutally attacked, and that was all that was left, and whatever. And so
If you straight up conquered, yeah.
if you saw something like that coming, it's kind of like, well, what would be willing to do to avoid mass slaughter?
Mm-hmm.
And then now in today's world, by mass slaughter, lots, we might be considering, of course, bombs, but nuclear warfare, of course, which I am gonna. That's at the end of our conversation today. We're gonna address nuclear warfare. So hold on to that one.
Is it good or bad?
That's the question, and we're gonna consider a lot of things.
Oh man,
So
can something be both?
So we'll hold on to this conversation
Okay,
later.
all right.
All right. So when is going to war just? Well, there's got to be a just cause, right intention. There has to be in proportion. The good has to outweigh the evil. It needs to be a last resort, and so I think that still needs to get fleshed out a little bit. But we'll be done with it today. Like that's just an idea that we need to think through. Truly, what is the last resort?
War should not be your first option.
That's definitely can be agreed on.
Yeah, right. And what all do you try ahead of time? Sure, diplomacy and all these things, but
How quickly do you pull that trigger?
Do you just surrender because they're better, or do you fight? Fight and die. And yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and it's hard to. So some of this is hard to separate just from our American mindset, right?
Oh yeah,
because our American mindset is, no, you're not taking my stuff, right?
We are a different kind of nation.
We are.
And we are very, we're built on rebellion. We're built on
literally,
freedom fighter. No one's going to control us. We will all die. we will be free.
Yeah. And that attitude has permeated our society forever, right or wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
Some of it is based on biblical truth, and some of it is just the American spirit.
Yep.
And so it's hard to differentiate sometimes. Sometimes you got to really stop and think. Why do I want to be free? Is it just because I don't like people telling me what to do, or is there a better moral reason for freedom?
Well, and free from what?
Yeah, exactly. Free from what, and free to do what?
Yeah,
two different things. Also.
Yeah,
and so
those are important.
Actually, stop and think. Why? Is it just because I don't want you to tell me what to do,
right?
Or do I have a real reason to be free?
Yeah.
So,
and then the last one is legitimate authority. So the idea is that this needs to be like an actual, real instituted government. Not, in other words, not like a terrorist group, a private militia. That's part of the just war. Now, how does that sit with you when I say private militia? I think maybe the early days of America, you might be thinking about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, every country who's ever fought for their own independence didn't have a legitimate government in theory, but they formed one as they were doing it. So there's been lots of guerrilla warfare tactics over the years that were justifiable because it was done in defense of their homeland of some sort.
So, like in our land, now I don't want to go into this too far, so just kind of track with me for a little bit. But the Constitution is the highest king in America.
Actually, it's the people. People, the ultimate authority in the land.
The Constitution gives them that.
No, the people in the Constitution give the government authority.
Well, the Constitution would be...
Who wrote the Constitution? The people. The Constitution wasn't there first. The people were there first.
But they signed it into power to be over the people.
We, the people of the United States.
To govern the people.
We, the people of the United States.
The Constitution allows for people to rise up against the government.
Correct.
So then you have three
people
groups.
Gave themselves authority to keep the government in check.
Well, I'm going to say there's three groups there.
Okay.
And people, Constitution, and government.
Okay.
I'm going to divide it that way. I'm not. I just want to make this very simplistic idea real quick.
Either way, the government is not the ultimate authority in our land.
Sure. Calm down. There we go. So the idea, like with legitimate authority, real government, not these private militias, is the idea. So for it to be just war, you couldn't have...
just random groups of people attacking.
I'm going to say two things here. So so you can't have just some mob rise up and say this is righteous and overthrow, whatever. Okay. However, we actually have the wording in our Constitution that is, accepted. It's an official document, that we are allowed to rise up when the rightfully instituted government, we believe they've gone too far or they've done something wrong. So that's an interesting kind of plot twist to this.
Yeah.
Because it's
which
not
is
normal.
literally how our country also was founded.
Yes.
that's
right.
That's why we declared independence, was for those same reasons.
So that's an interesting one to think through as well. And I think just not to hash it out right now, but even to think, I want to make it clear that I love my nation. I love being a citizen here. I don't want to be a citizen somewhere else. I like America.
Agree 100%.
Okay. And so just with that foundation, but I do want to consider, sometimes we celebrate certain things. Sometimes rebellion is just not good. And so there can be a good, just rebellion because you're rebelling against evil, right?
Sure.
And so we have to be very careful with that and kind of analyze history and don't just go, well, we're just good. we're just right because this is my people, this is my forefathers or something,
Sure.
We want to have a biblical foundation for these things. And that's kind of what we're going through today. We want to make sure that we are being consistent with Scripture. We are honoring God. We're giving proper worship to Him. We're glorifying Him properly through all of this. And so that's kind of the foundation, the framework that we're working in here. So there we go. That's when is going toward just cause, right intention, proportionality, last resort, legitimate authority. You have those things. Then the second question, which only has two criteria, how must war be fought? Okay, so that's another ball of wax there. So this only has two things really. And so the first one is about discrimination. Okay, the idea that you may not deliberately, keyword, okay, you may not deliberately target civilians. You must aim your force at legitimate military targets and intend, keyword, intend. Collateral damage does happen.
Collateral damage happens.
We're talking about intentions.
And you should not bear the brunt of collateral damage.
Yeah. So, but you intend to spare...
Yeah, bear the guilt of collateral damage.
You intend to spare non-combatants as far as possible.
Sure.
So, not deliberately targeting civilians, and you intend to spare the civilians.
Now, how does this then, though, play into the wars in the Bible? I mean, the kill orders... Women, children, babies, animals, kill everything, right?
Now, we did kind of handle that in the Is God Good series.
We have. Okay. We have handled that.
So then I'll just real quick
I can just see someone like, well, that's not how they fought the battles in the Bible, right? Like they went to exterminate in so many cases.
There basically was no innocent party there. No. We have to remember that the order was to drive them out. And there was clearly, they all knew about Yahweh. They knew about the power of Yahweh. Remember Jericho, the hearts melted within them and things. Everybody knew about it. They heard about the kings being defeated and things. There was lots of warning. God had, his own ambassadors, so to speak, in the land, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and they all kept moving around. And he had Melchizedek.
And part of the reason he had Israel stay, 400 years in Egypt was because the time of the Canaanites was not done yet.
Yes.
He was giving them more and more time.
Time to repent.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there were witnesses in the land for centuries. Mm-hmm. Talk about mercy. And then, but instead of, they just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. It did not slow down at all. The days of Melchizedek were long gone. And even then there were some problems.
Oh, yeah.
Big problems,
Yeah, there was a Sodom and Gomorrah at that time.
Yeah, right, correct. And so they came in to drive them out. They only had a 100% kill rate for those that stood their ground against them. And, sadly, they kept their children and things with them. And so they doomed their own children, really. But, hey, just to get into a little bit, like, what would happen? Those kids grow up; they're going to be your enemies.
Well,
and,
sure, naturally.
Even God says, "Hey, the people you leave in the land."
You can use that same argument today, though. I guess is what I was going to get to.
Yeah, you could. I think there is a.
So why does the ethics of it change?
I think there is a distinction between God directly saying, "You go here and do this," whereas if we just say, "I want to expand my borders," or if we say,
I want to defend my borders.
They really hurt. Well, defending is completely different. That's another issue altogether.
Sure, but either way, like I'm not going to target the children.
But if you strap bombs to little kids,
unless they have guns with them, and then they're combatant, and that's a whole other story.
That'll happen. They'll they'll weaponize children.
Yeah, they will.
It's so sad,
it's wrong.
And it's one of those things where you have to take them out with the situation. If anything else could be done, let's do it. But there's so many sad decisions that have to be made, and I think that is just. And it's really who gets that blame? It's that those people that are weaponizing the children. Those are the ones that have the guilt. Mm-hmm. Anyways, get off on a pet peeve there.
Okay,
but so don't deliberately target civilians, and you should intend to spare non-combatants.
Sure.
Okay. As far as possible.
I think we can agree with that.
And we're saying as far as possible.
Yeah, because there is collateral damage. Wrong place, wrong time that happens in war. Right.
And then the other key point here with how must war be fought? All right, proportionality once again. You should not have a use of force that is clearly, I think that's kind of a key word there, clearly excessive relative to the actual military objective. Okay, so what goes back to cause and intention? Like, what are you going to war for? What are you trying to accomplish? And so if it's simply that there's this one bad leader, and this happens, and that leadership group, small cluster leadership group, they're actually evil and doing a lot of bad things. Then you have a large civilian population that is in disagreement with that leadership. And they are actually being persecuted. They're actually suffering underneath this leadership. You go in to take out the leadership, but then he goes, you know what? It'd be a whole lot easier just to carpet bomb the place.
Yeah.
You know, well, okay, that's not just war. That's disproportional to the objective. Sure. So that's what I'm talking about. So you want to make sure that it is proportional. Your use of force is proportional to the objective.
When you're weighing that out, also it's the potential loss of life of those on our side as well, right?
Yes, absolutely, it is.
And so you have to make those decisions based on defending your people as well and protecting your people as well. So sometimes it is easier to drop bombs than lose.
Yeah,
our people in battle.
That's why it's even a thought to begin with. And so you do want to weigh.
You have to weigh those things.
Yes.
But
we have SEAL teams.
Yeah, no,
that'll go in and
you can have
things.
the incursion teams that can go do some stuff, and they do.
That's why it's beautiful to have
surgical
special forces.
Strikes. Yeah.
Which I'm always so impressed with the ability.
They're usually impressive.
Of special forces,
Yeah.
Green Berets, and all that. Oh my goodness. Anyways, we'll move on. So I want to read excerpt of scripture here. So we'll go through just a few passages, three little passages, to kind of show how Jesus is a man of war. He is the ultimate warrior.
Okay.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yes.
So Exodus 15, 1 through 18. I know it's longer, but it's beautiful. And so this is after after Egypt's army was defeated in the Red Sea. Okay. So then Moses and the people of Israel sang this song to the Lord, saying, I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my Father's God, and I will exalt him. Here it is, verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. This is ESV. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Of course, that's that master, right? That domination. Okay. Pharaoh's chariots, verse 4. Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts he cast into the sea, and his chosen officers were sunk in the Red Sea. The floods covered them, and they went down to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, O Lord, glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, shatters the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, you overthrow your adversaries. You send out your fury. It consumes them like stubble. At the blast of your nostrils, the waters piled up. And of course, that's the idea of even that anger. You flare the nostrils and stuff, right? The floods stood up in a heap. The deeps congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall have its fill of them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. Then what happened? Verse 10, you blew with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glorious deeds, doing wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. You have led in your steadfast love the people whom you have redeemed. The defending of the innocents, protecting your people, that's kind of built in there too. You have guided them by your strength to your holy abode. The peoples have heard, they tremble. Pangs have seized the inhabitants of Philistia. Now are the chiefs of Edom dismayed. Trembling seizes the leaders of Moab, and all the inhabitants of Canaan have melted away. Terror and dread fall upon them, because of the greatness of your arm. They are still as a stone, till your people, O Lord, pass by. Till the people pass by whom you have purchased. You will bring them in and plant them on your own mountain, the place, O Lord, which you have made for your abode, the sanctuary, O Lord, which your hands have established. Then it ends with this in the little section here: the Lord will reign forever and ever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's Psalm 2. I love Psalm 2. Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. So the Father and the
Jesus.
Son.
Yeah.
Yes. Saying, let us burst their bonds apart and cast away their cords from us. What did they want? They wanted freedom.
From God.
Yes. So it's not good freedom this time.
Yeah. Not all freedom's good.
It says, then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, as for me, this is the Father speaking, I have set my King, Jesus, on Zion in Jerusalem, my holy hill. I will tell of the decree. The Lord said to me, you are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your heritage, and the ends of the earth your possession. So there's a domination and a conquering over the entire earth. Mm-hmm. We see that fulfilled much later. You shall break them with a rod of iron and dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So definitely use of force here. Use of force.
Yep.
Now, therefore, O kings, be wise. Be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. Oh, I love Psalm 2.
This sounds like a holy war.
Well, not so much, because it's not trying to spread Christianity. This is just the conquering the enemies that have stood against Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Really interesting.
I was making a joke.
Well, but I had it cleared up. All right, fair enough.
But, yeah.
One last passage, because these are awesome. Revelation 19, 11 through 21. Yeah. So I kind of got like three pieces of the Bible here, Revelation 19, 11 through 21. Then I saw heaven opened. Here comes the big second coming battle. Mm-hmm. I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. The one sitting on it called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he judges and makes war. So there is this idea of a righteous war. You know?
Now there could be an argument here that only Jesus has the right to do a righteous war.
You could say that. What I didn't do
I just want to give credit to that. That's an argument.
Yeah.
That many will say.
Well, if they listen to the first part of the series, I gave a stirring pacifist argument.
Yeah.
So yeah, but here even if you go through every passage that has to do with war, which is tons,
there's a lot of war in the Bible.
Yeah, you will actually begin to see a lot of these elements of just war that are there. But the idea is that there is the justice and righteousness that is in war. Not all war, but it's there. Necessary evil, if you will. If you understand the phrase, not saying it's actually evil to do it. Okay. All right. So then, but this is really cool here. Let's go to, so it's verse 12 now. His eyes are like a flame of fire, and on his head are many diadems. And he has a name written that no one knows but himself. Like this. He is clothed in a robe dipped in blood. And the name by which he is called is the Word of God. And the armies of heaven, arrayed in fine linen, white and pure, were following him on white horses. From his mouth comes a sharp sword with which to strike down the nations, and he will rule them with a rod of iron. And that rule there is shepherd. He will tread the winepress of the fury of the wrath of God the Almighty. On his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That treading that winepress of the fury of the wrath of God the Almighty. It's that, you're stomping on these grapes and stuff, you're just stomping. And this, of course, the grape kind of looks like blood, right? It's just squirting up. So
it doesn't sound pleasant.
It's a bloody picture on purpose.
Yeah.
Then, verse 17, then I saw an angel standing in the sun, and with a loud voice he called to all the birds that fly directly overhead. Let's get an idea of the carnage here. Come, gather for the great supper of God, to eat the flesh of kings, the flesh of captains, the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses and their riders, and the flesh of all men, both free and slave, both small and great. And I saw the beast. So that's, the figures in Revelation there. I saw the beast and the kings of the earth with their armies gathered to make war against him who was sitting on the horse and against his army.
That's a bad idea, by the way.
It is a very bad idea. And the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet who in its presence had done the signs by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped its image. These two, this is unlike anybody else, a special thing here, these two were thrown alive into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's a bad deal.
It means they didn't die yet.
In the last verse here, and the rest...
Catched and tossed.
Yeah. It doesn't sound good.
No, it sounds bad.
So what happens to the rest of them? Verse 21, and the rest were slain by the sword that came from the mouth of him who was sitting on the horse. He spoke a word. And all the birds were gorged with their flesh. Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this
gorged
idea.
Means overeaten.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know what gorged means.
That's a fat guy at a buffet.
So here we definitely see throughout Scripture that Jesus not only approves of certain wars, he wages them himself at times, and there is a justice and a righteousness in it. There's potential for war to have those elements. I think what it comes down to really is, the individuals participating. Are they sinning in their hearts as they do these things? There's the individual intentions, the individual reasoning for it all. That often is where there's failure.
Sure.
Even with the nations that God raised up to judge, even Israel and Judah and things, they did so in a sinful way, typically.
Yeah.
And so they
were punished for
so
what they
were
did.
Judged.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's get to the final piece here.
Okay.
What about nuclear weapons?
The big boom.
As I figured out, we got to cover this. There's so much stuff to talk about still, really.
Well, they've only really been used once, like on
two cities, but
yeah. But like at
in actual wartime,
one time, yeah.
As far as I understand it, maybe there was something else, but as far as I understand,
maybe smaller stuff has been done, but yeah.
So because there is a different range.
And was
of
that
size.
justifiable?
Okay, we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit. So let's go back to our principles. Okay. Discrimination. How should war be done? Right. Remember discrimination and proportionality. Mm-hmm. So you may not deliberately target civilians. You must aim your force at legitimate military targets and intend to spare non-combatants as far as possible. And then no use of force that is clearly excessive relative to the military objective. All right, with those two key criteria established,
okay.
We think of nuclear weapons. Now, right now, I'm imagining the like atom bomb level, because there are like ranges of size. Okay, so just think of like atom bomb. Okay, by nature, really, they are indiscriminate and disproportionate. I mean, typically speaking, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Can there be a situation though where it is proportionate? They're obviously always going to be indiscriminate.
Yeah.
Always. By that alone, does that mean we should never use nuclear warfare?
Never is a long time.
Because this would be the just war position.
Sure.
And so it'd be like, this is where I think people tend to, like they can be with me, and then now they're going to take like a realism view. So it's like, yeah, I'm just war up until, now I think I'm going to be more realism. War happens. Casualties happen. This is the nature of it. Everybody has nukes. We're going to have nukes too.
And I think in the case of the nukes, which, we'll just talk about the ones we dropped on Japan, because that's really the only ones I know about, right?
Yeah, right.
It ended the war.
It did.
An ongoing war that would not end, and it ended it. Mm-hmm. So, that was a justification for it. Basically, we're going to try this, hope it ends the war, and it did. I'm sure there's more details into it than that.
Of course.
But that's what's in our history books, right?
Yeah. And there was warnings given. There was like the old leaflets dropped.
Were there?
Saying, yeah, you better get out of the city.
You may want to evacuate.
Now the problem is what did they actually understand? Because you're like your entire city's going to vaporize. I'm not sure what the wording was, but essentially, like, how can you comprehend that at that time? Especially like now, we can look back and go, "Oh, that's what it did." And so when someone talks about a nuke, we suddenly have all this information populate in our heads. Mm-hmm. But what information do they have? So that's one of the considerations.
Sure.
Things like that. So like, was it a fair warning? I mean, maybe the best we could do.
I have no idea. But then you weighed into, okay, how many other lives were saved because the war stopped, which was a lot, right? And that was a justification for it. And I'm not necessarily opposed to that justification. Of course, we're on the winning side, which always skews, skews it. So, like, I also realize that as well.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
But I can certainly say, I would not be one who advocates for a nuclear war today.
Sure.
What do I say? Never should have happened. I mean, there may be a scenario where it's necessary for a just cause, but I mean, I think most people on board with, we prefer that not to take place. And
I
just
think
about every situation, right?
I think it's like the part that doesn't hold up, because I think there's a good argument to be made, whether someone agrees or not. I think there's a good argument to be made to say it is proportional. There's a level of evil there, but the good that came out of it, as far as ending a world war, I mean, we're talking about how many lives get lost on the scale of nations across the globe.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
The indiscriminate part,
that's tougher.
Doesn't really pass the muster there.
Yeah, doesn't pass the
Although,
test.
if you gave the warning, that's also hard to do, because a bombing attack is less effective if you give a warning, right? Like, also you could get shot down, especially in today's world. Back then it was a little different. We were able to sneak those planes over there.
And it's kind of hard to escape that area. That's like, because all the fallout, you think about, nuclear warfare is a little bit different than normal.
And of course, we don't have necessarily all the information on the radiation problems.
We did not know. Correct.
There's probably suspicions of it, but we know a lot more about radiation problems today than we did then.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad information in the beginning of that. You'll see video of people walking towards a nuclear blast when they're testing it. There's no clue about how actually bad that the whole thing is. And so,
of course, if you hide inside a refrigerator, I hear you're safe.
Depends on how close you are to the blast.
Hey, I watched that Indiana Jones movie.
And then breathing the air afterwards.
Get inside the refrigerator, through the air, like a mile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you watched this?
I haven't seen that, no.
Yeah, it's some documentary.
Indiana Jones, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. So it becomes a little bit hairy, was what I'm saying.
Yes. No.
So let me introduce you to some other ideas.
Okay.
Because there could be, the idea is like, should anyone ever even have them? Is it unethical to even have it? Like, you can make a threat. Maybe your threat is what's keeping you safe, but I mean, are you never going to actually use them?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a theoretical thing, because once you have it, you can't really not have them anymore, right?
Correct. And it does create escalation.
You're already at that point. And so, as long as your nation has the most, you should be good. I mean, that's really the theory that, that's the only way to be safe. And then you just hope that everybody is semi-reasonable, where you don't just have a full-blown, everybody hit the button at once and just destroy the whole world all at the same time. You just hope that doesn't happen.
Well, even you think about the possibility of a just peace. Okay. Is that endangered? Because if you consider, a large nuclear exchange could destroy infrastructure, needed for any decent post-war life. Okay, so like you're actually creating problems so long term. It's many generations afterwards are affected by this whole thing. and even creating long-lasting bitterness, desire for revenge, things like that. So I just think those have to be considered. A lot of this is a thinking exercise here.
Yeah,
we're not actually here to solve all the world's issues,
extol the virtues of nuclear war.
Say this is exactly what you are to do, all you nations. Okay, we're not there yet, but
no.
But
this is just what do you think the Bible says about this? Is talk through this. I mean, that's really what this is all about.
There's going to be massive refugee crisis. There's going to be famine, potentially.
A full-on nuclear war would be bad. There may not be refugees.
Well, and there's the idea like if everybody shot off their nukes kind of thing, we all have like anti-nuke capabilities. Yeah. But the thing is you're exploding them in the air. Well, it's not like, oh, we dodged that bullet. Well, partially.
Yes, you did. But
but then here comes the aftershock.
If you have the radiation portion of it, the fallout and all that stuff, that would be bad.
Oh yeah.
And all that, and I'm not a scientist. I'm out of my element knowing what would actually happen. But I read the books and watch the movies, and it's not good. So,
yeah, there's even like the small tactical, more tactical nuclear
little guys.
Yeah, but that's there's still some lingering effects. There's still, you see at the way out, what are we actually doing? Where is it going? Who's it affecting? But I want to make clear, because sometimes we handle things like this where we are in this very sanitized environment. We don't have the stress of making a decision.
No.
We can look back at now decades of data, and we can say, okay, well, this is clearly, they didn't have that convenience. And that's always true going forward in time, is there's going to be the stress of a situation. You have like 5 seconds to make a decision sometimes, or, at best a few days, if as you're planning.
And your decisions have consequences
all the time.
And there's a big consequence. The decision to drop 2 nuclear bombs, that's a big decision, right?
Yeah.
And you're weighing it with, this is going to cause all kinds of collateral damage, but it's also going to end a war. How much more collateral damage is going to be caused if we continue the war? And those are the decisions being made. And that's not to be made lightly. Obviously, you hope that everyone's thinking through the ethics of that. And at some point, you just have to trust that your leaders are, right? Like, and also keep in mind, they have more information than you do. So a lot of times we our leaders make decisions, and we're like, I don't know if I do that. Well, they also know more than you do, right? Like, so there's more information that plays into it than what comes out on the news. So you can't necessarily sit in judgment on what others have decided necessarily.
And also,
because
quick commercial.
You don't know all this stuff.
Quick commercial for being active in your local politics and beyond. Voting is an important privilege that we have. And so we elect leaders, and then we submit to them. As a general rule. Of course, can be exceptions if it's evil or something, necessarily like obviously inherently evil. But
in some way.
Yeah, but just as a general rule.
Or it goes against, in our case, it goes against the Constitution. Then you don't.
Yeah. I think there's
have
reason
to obey certain things according to the Constitution. Now, get yourself in all sorts of trouble with that, and that's a whole nother conversation. But
well, let me introduce you to something else then.
Okay.
I want to keep it moving here.
Yeah.
So there's something called the acronym is MAD, 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 Mutual Assured Destruction.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
So, so the idea with this is that you have nuclear weapons as deterrence.
Yeah.
It keeps people
from. If they shoot them at us, we shoot them at you.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're gonna die, so are you.
We have
that vengeance.
My nukes are pointed at you, and your nukes are pointed at mine.
Yeah.
And so someone that would be a proponent of this would say this is a good thing because it basically assures that you'll never use them.
Yeah, that's the hope behind it, right?
That's the idea.
That's the idea.
I think it's not that simple, but that's the idea.
Nothing's ever as simple as that, but yeah.
So question for you. is it morally permissible to threaten an unjust action you believe you must never actually commit? So we're talking about like a large scale, like Russia had this bomb that have a 40-mile blast radius, 40 square mile blast radius with all the fallout and everything.
It just sounds like a good negotiating tactic.
So, but like, can you, if you believe, if you're in a position where you would believe it's not just to nuke somebody.
The key is, do they believe that? Do they believe that you believe that?
But just for you, like if you were to believe that, you should never actually launch this thing.
Okay. Is
it morally permissible to threaten it?
Do you believe that you should never launch it? That's really the question, right?
Well, yeah. If you're in a position where, so if you're a true just war tradition person, okay, then obviously this is indiscriminate killing. It's obviously you have a large number of civilians.
So you don't take all 5 of your things in consideration and say, okay, 3 out of 5, that's good. You win.
No, they are supposed to take it as 100% altogether.
There is a hierarchy in some of these, right?
We can play with it. I'm using the actual like this is the position. If you didn't have the whole position, you'd probably call it something else.
But I think the greater good thing outweighs some of the other ones ultimately.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you that I believe that the proportionate part of it is actually probably the key, the biggest factor. The biggest factor, because if it does produce more good, ultimately, if you know that, if you really believe that, then do it. Now, I don't mean the end justifies the means. No, there's a fine line there.
There's definitely a line there.
I don't mean that. Yes. Because what that means is morality goes completely out the window.
I think you're weighing the in the collateral damage sense. Would more collateral damage happen if you continue on in this path? But this action here would stop that. Yes, it causes collateral damage, but ultimately less. Yeah. And those are the things you're weighing when making that decision. That doesn't make it an easy decision or a decision to take lightly. But to say, yeah, you would never do it would be a tough stance to take. Now, to your question, if you believe you shouldn't do it because it can't fit the just test, the argument is really, does it fit the just test? But you say you believe it doesn't. Should you even threaten it or not? Because that's almost like you're lying. And lying's a sin.
It's kind of deceptive. It's also a really bad thing if you say, I'm going to do this.
But then you get in the whole ethics of deceiving other nations and spies and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I do want to cover that one day, actually.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. I actually have a plan to cover that.
But I think you fit in that category, right? Where like, you know what I mean? When it comes to like, yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to shoot these, although I never would, because you're trying to deceive them and think that you're going to shoot them when you're not. I think you're in that category. Now, then the argument then is that wrong to lie and deceive?
Yes, I don't think all is fair in war. I think that you still have your same moral code, but it is the idea. I think proportionality is king, and I'm willing to fudge on it really. So it's like so there is people that say, "Hey, I have a just war view," but they're willing to say, but not all key considerations, all key factors are equal. And I'm open to that.
Now back to vengeance, though. Vengeance not being a just cause. If we're shooting them just to destroy the other nation also, is that just vengeance? And therefore not just?
Right. So I was actually going to mention that, so I'm glad you did. So the idea is like,
or is that punishment?
They launched nuclear weapons at us.
So we launch them back.
So then,
they cross paths in the air. And that's basically the idea, right?
Yes.
You're going a long ways.
Yeah.
And you got time before they hit, so we're shooting ours too, right?
Yes.
That's the idea.
Right. So
we may not win, but neither are you.
I think what that comes down to is cause and intention.
Mm-hmm.
So what cause is there? We are under attack. Now, the thing is shooting at them doesn't stop that attack. That attack, that's another issue.
No, but we do have things that stop those attacks as well.
So the intention of it, though, is the intention that they are evil. They're going to do this to other nations.
Probably.
And so we want to prevent this from happening to other nations. So I think that's...
We'll say anything to justify it.
Well, but I really mean it. I really mean it.
Yeah.
Yes, because if the intention is you're going to burn with us and that's it, well, that's not so noble. That's not as noble. It makes sense. It's a natural human response.
But that's when you hear mutually assured destruction, that's what you think. Because that's like, okay, you guys are going to die too.
Stay safe. And honestly, that very well could be a real reason why we haven't had nuclear warfare, is because everybody's, not everybody, but you know what I mean? A whole bunch of nations have nuclear weapons and they're all pointing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so no one's interested in having that mess. Nobody's interested in doing that. And so, we'll see. And then there's other things my mind goes to with how that could go wrong, but let's move on.
Okay.
Okay. So here's okay. So let me get to maybe how about some scenarios? Let's do some what if deals. Okay. And then I think maybe we'll close with that.
Some what ifs. Okay. You're gonna try to make me think through.
There's lots of things. Okay. So you have a single small tactical nuke.
Okay.
On an isolated military target. Okay. Imagine an enemy is about to launch a massive biological strike.
Okay.
That would kill millions.
Okay.
A single low yield nuclear strike on a hardened bunker in an unpopulated area could stop it. No civilians are in range. Okay. Now hold on. Okay. So here's the considerations we have to have. All right. So, I think that we're kind of starting out a little easier maybe here. Okay. But discrimination, right? So are non-combatants really safe? Is fallout contained? Okay. So you see where I'm going with this? So it's like there's maybe, think through the like what are the consequences of me doing this? I can present a case that seems safe, but is it really safe?
Sure.
Is it actually being discriminate, just targeting military? Okay. So what about? And I'll let you go wild here in a little while, but proportionality. Okay. Does preventing millions of deaths justify using a weapon with nuclear side effects?
Yes.
Okay, because the nuclear side effects potentially could cause problems for even more people.
Do we have any other options in this case?
Well,
based on the scenario you painted, there weren't other options.
There's not much information here. Okay. By the way, I had ChatGPT come up with these scenarios.
Sure. If you had a bomb that was non-nuclear and you could do the same effect, sure, you would do that. But we're already assuming that that's not the case. This is the only way. And so therefore, yes.
So
the answer is yes.
So here. What about this? When we use nuclear warfare, there's a real danger of escalation.
Yep.
Okay. So I do this. Well, they're going to do something bigger, and so then we're going to do something bigger to
you have that
and it just keeps going.
Yeah, that
keeps going.
Yep.
And of course, it encourages the technology to even go faster. More quickly. There we go. More quickly, we will be developing bigger, badder stuff to drop on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, man, we don't want to start that ball rolling down the hill. It's already moving, but why accelerate it like that? And make people really be focusing on it when they could be focusing on
I think
things.
These are things you would keep in consideration.
Okay.
You'd have to have a good PR team.
Okay, here we go. So now I'm gonna have you do a little more. You're gonna interact a little bit more. Okay. So that was like to kind of get us an idea. All right. So here we have suppose your country And everybody think about this, even if you're from a different country. Okay. Suppose your country was struck first by a nuclear attack.
That'd be a bummer.
You can retaliate.
Okay.
All right. What are the questions you should be asking?
Who attacked me? I mean, that should be number one, right? You don't want to attack the wrong country.
That's true.
Question one.
It was a simple thing, but yeah, you're right. You're right. That's if you mess that one up,
yeah,
that'd be really bad.
Then your next question is what is the best response?
So, like, just cause is the idea, right?
Yeah,
So,
you have a just cause.
a cause
if
for it.
your nation's attacked, you have a just cause to defend yourself.
Okay.
What's the best way to defend yourself is one of the questions to be asked. And
then, would that actually
and what is the
defend us?
most effective way to defend yourself would be another question to ask.
It's like what would it accomplish? Like what good is going to come out of
what
this?
is the best defense? Shooting nukes back or a ground attack, or what is? I mean, you got to ask that question. What is our best defense?
Yeah.
Do we just retaliate in kind, or is there a better way?
Or do we go
just
harder?
Indiscriminately shooting nukes back is not necessarily the correct answer. It may be the correct answer, but still, it's back to the other thing. The theory is if everybody's got them, nobody shoots them. I mean, that's what everybody hopes, right?
Now, in this scenario, we get hit. We're actually hit.
And if in that scenario, we probably would have already shot them. Like in our case, other countries probably would do the same thing. If you're shooting at me and I know you're shooting at me,
Yes.
we're probably shooting them back.
Sure. And of course, there could always be a situation where, like someone could actually come in here. I mean, it would be difficult, but it's not within the realm of impossibility that they could actually craft, like even like another government's group infiltrates the country, not too hard to do. And then here you gather materials illegally, of course, and secretly craft a nuclear weapon, set it off. So it's not like it's launching in the sky.
Sure.
It's already here. So there you don't have a thing where it's like, oh, we're alerted to it.
Yeah.
We'll shoot them off. It just goes, boom, it's happened. Oh,
The question
whoa.
on that is then you're back to who did it, because
who did
you wouldn't
it?
even know.
Yeah. So just cause. You find out who did it. It's the country that you really don't like. You name it. And
I like all the countries.
Retaliation, well, you know how people are.
Yeah.
Retaliation, I think we'd have to, like, not everyone would agree with this, but I think we have to agree that retaliation in itself is not enough. Like, that's not a just cause just to retaliate.
Correct. Like,
You with me on that one?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
just
Just
go kill other people.
There has
that's
to
not,
be-
That's not the solution to the problem.
There has to be good to come out of it. Like the cause, like you have to be foreseeing.
Well, in defending yourself is a good cause, but
All right, so what's another question that needs to be asked here? What do you think?
who did it?
Okay.
Why did they do it? And how do we get them back?
All right. What about? So I'll give you this one because we've already kind of talked about it a little bit. So like the intention. So cause and intention are two different things.
Yep.
But the intention there, I think the big question should be: are we acting to restore justice?
Sure.
Because that's what it's all about: justice and peace. So what will actually give peace for the parties involved? What actually brings justice for the parties involved? What's the best way to do that? And so that has to be some questions going on in this process.
Yeah. All those questions.
Yeah. So in other words, this is just a thinking exercise like everything else. And so people can go back and think about it in different situations. And of course, proportionality, right? So when we retaliate to this country, will it actually prevent further aggression, or will it only add more destruction without any actual clear gain?
Sure.
So we got to think through that one.
Yeah. Which, are you just attacking random cities, or are you attacking military installations,
we need to be
or
strategic.
whatever? Yeah.
Yes. Discriminate as much as possible for, like we said, there's several factors involved, and some end up taking over. So yeah, a lot of people, they'll go back to they'll hold this view, and they'll come back to a very hard stance on, if at all we know that civilians will die or get hurt, by it. We cannot do it. And so that's where I'd kind of break away. I'd kind of break away on that one.
Yeah, because you're not defending yourself then. They'll keep attacking, right? In theory.
And so this brings justice.
So at some point, you have to...
And peace.
Defend your innocent people.
Yeah. I believe you have to, yes.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, oh, no, I can't hurt those innocent people, so then our innocent people just keep dying and keep dying and keep dying.
And that certainly should play into the decision, right? Because obviously we don't want to hurt any innocent people.
Yeah.
But me defending my innocent people is more important.
Yes.
Because
I think
this is where I'm at.
I think you're being indiscriminate if you keep letting your own innocent civilians die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. You have to think of it both ways there. Very, very important. Okay. Interesting stuff. So we have to think through these things, I think, as we go forward, and especially because, you know, even the younger people that are listening, you know, let's say you're high school, college age, around there.
18 to 22-year-old is our biggest demographic.
Yeah.
On
well, that's kind of the reason
Spotify.
I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go team.
Yeah.
Gen Z all the way. Hey, we connect with Gen Z. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at
amazing.
us. We're not that old then.
It's like middle-aged white fat guys with bald heads.
Yeah. Glasses and beards. Yeah. Okay.
And very stylish polos.
I don't know how many times people have accused me of being your brother. So
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Totally different head shape.
What's funny is if you actually saw my brother,
I've met your brother.
Nothing.
He doesn't look like either of us in any possible way.
He's got a lot more good things going on for him. Like hair and okay. I hope he's listening to this one. All right. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, there's other things I've kind of had, but I think we're good. And it just helps us to think through these things, as I think a lot of people, they take positions on war without really thinking through all the factors, without really thinking through the details. It's just either I like it or I hate it. Mm-hmm. And there's, you know, what's your reasoning? War kills, or, you know, they deserve it. That's really kind of the end of it.
And there's more to the conversation than
so much more to it.
And that's the whole point of this. So regardless of your view, make your view biblical and just think through all the different ethics of it.
I want to close with this, just a book recommendation. I've already mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Because I am so impressed with it. And I want to try to...
Why don't you hold it up so we can all see the cover?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to read off it too.
Okay.
So, Ethics of War, A Short Companion by Paul D. Miller. I can't see my own... Is that in shot?
We got it right there. Ethics of War.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the one I'd recommend. And it's helped me through thinking through some of these things, and really great book there. All right.
Awesome.
Anyways, good talk.
That just about wraps her up. So this series is over, and come join us for our next one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you next.